Okay, so today I wanted to do a review of the Nabisco Carrot Cake Oreo, which I think is a really interesting product. I'm pretty sure that this is a limited edition, or at least I hope so. It's hard to imagine this becoming a permanent flavor. You could probably tell up here, I've already eaten some of these Oreos, so that's just what you do with Oreos. You can see from the cookie that this is a little bit more than a standard um, fill rate Oreo. I think that this is something more like in the time and a half. It doesn't feel quite like a double stuff, but I haven't compared those directly. This feels more like a time and a half to time and three quarters stuff. Maybe it is a true double stuff, and I think that that's because the filling inside here is actually a cream cheese type frosting rather than the standard Oreo. That's, of course, really emphasized by the packaging on the front. And this, I think, gets at what's really interesting about this as a product. So when I look at this Oreo cookie and I want to evaluate it as a flavor, I think about what do you think of when you think about carrot cake and you think about the carrot flavor, but you think about that cream cheese frosting. And I think it's a really interesting choice for Nabisco to go with a cream cheese frosting because I honestly I think that's why you eat carrot cake. It's just a cream cheese frosting delivery vehicle for you, right? So you really have to get that, and I think that Nabisco has done a fantastic job of that. I think that the cream cheese frosting actually tastes really good. Where I think that this product becomes truly interesting, though, is looking at the cookie layer because you can tell that the cookie layer is not soft at all. It's actually quite rigid and it's crunchy the way that you expect an Oreo cookie to be crunchy. And this is a pivotal part about creating a flavor of an Oreo cookie because when you bite into an Oreo cookie, you want it to be crisp. You want it to be crunchy, right? A lot of those generic Oreo cookies get that wrong. They are soft, they're just not right. It doesn't have the texture that you want of an Oreo cookie, but that's a texture that doesn't make sense for carrot cake. When you bite into a carrot cake, you want it to be soft, you want it to be moist. That's what's really going to give you that delicious carrot cake. So I think that the Nabisco Corporation really had a decision to make. Are you going to go with something that's going to be more carrot cakey, or are you going to go with something that's going to be more of that Oreo cookie experience that you want? And it looks like Nabisco has chosen to go with that crunchy Oreo experience, which I ultimately think is the right decision. I think that, you look at an Oreo cookie and it's just got Oreo written right on there. You expect an Oreo cookie to taste like an Oreo cookie. You have to have that experience. So what this really makes me feel like is that the flavors of Oreos work well when they really are based more on a flavor or an ingredient rather than an entire food. So when you get that carrot cake and you put carrot cake on the packaging and the labeling, you want that experience of the holistic carrot cake, right? And that's going to be not quite right for the Oreo cookie itself. But you need that Oreo cookie to be an Oreo cookie. That's just what you need an Oreo cookie to be. So I think this is a really good example of why some of the flavors, like, for example, the lemon Oreo cookie, work really, really well because you can just take that lemony flavor, you can infuse that into the frosting, you can infuse that into the cookie, but the audience isn't expecting a particular texture out of a lemon because we just think of lemons as lots of things, right? When you think about lemon, you might be thinking about lemonade, for example. You're not necessarily thinking about that textural quality of a lemon the way that you are going to be when you're thinking about a carrot cake. And that's why I think companies like Nabisco need to be a little bit more careful when they choose a novelty flavor that's really a whole food rather than just a flavor profile. But on the whole, I do think it's a pretty good cookie. I don't know that I'd want them forever, but as a limited time, just a short duration cookie that's going to be a little bit of a novelty that you're going to pick up one pack, eat it through, more or less enjoy it, but then pretty much be done with it. I think this is actually a pretty successful product. I bought the one package. I'm not planning on buying any more packages, but I'm not sad that I bought this one. Like I said, the cream cheese frosting is pretty strong. I think that the carrot cake flavoring in the cookie itself is not bad at all. So on the whole, really, pretty good for being a limited time product, but an interesting lesson in just flavor choicing in general.